Hello. We are 2 days out from the official public launch of 111 FM, and everything is live. Like 98% of everything is live, and I'm so excited about this thing. I'm so excited about 111 FM. This is something that I don't know, it's different. People have been asking me about like what is the set up the microphone. What is the difference between the vaults, the merriment making vaults, and the memberships that I've done in the past and 111 FM? And really, the difference is that it's like if you want homework and modules and structure, I mean, there's still structure inside of 111 FM. It's just that the vaults, the merriment making vault, that is that is the place where you go to like learn, right? It's like school. It is like figuring out the 101 of how to do stuff and the basics and assignments and challenges and workbooks and master classes and all of that. And there's like thousands of resources on almost every subject on personal development that there is. And it's so great. And then what I'm thinking about 111 FM as being, I talk about how we have to feel good to do good. And really, I've only kind of been teaching it. And now this is kind of a way to feel it. So somebody recently said that they prefer things that are more active where they're getting assignments and challenges and things. And that, if that's what you want the vault. But if you want the, I don't even want to call it passive. It's just having like a muse and positive stuff, positive energy, positive feelings and information and hype up energy in your ear whenever you want. That's 111 FM. It's like putting you literally on the frequency so that you can feel good. There's the quote by the psychologist Carl Rogers, and it's something like the irony is that once I accepted myself, then I could change. And I think that that's kind of like where I'm coming from is like it's like how can we really feel good first? So very excited about 111 FM. We're selling them. I'm sending out all of the postcards and yeah, you don't have to wait. You can get it now. And it's also there's still early bird pricing. So it did go up from the pre-sale price, but it's still cheaper than it will be in 2 days. And there's monthly and quarterly options now for you to get it in. So not I didn't mean to do like a big pitch on that. I'm very excited. Anyway, okay, so today's session is called Receiving is a Skill. And I want to talk about receiving with you. I don't want to talk about productivity. I don't want to talk about performance. I want to talk about allowing and attuning and letting things be easy. And also like what even is receiving? Because for a long time when people would talk about what is receiving, I would be like, I don't even know what you mean, really, truly. I don't even get it. I don't, what are you talking about? What it seems so abstract. So I want to talk about that. And then I want to let you know that after this goes up, it goes up in the positive pulse. And I have so many bonuses for you today. So many. I also decided after like this morning that I wanted to include astrology and human design in this. So like giving you specific ideas of how to maybe receive for yourself in a more specific way. So we're gonna do that. And then in the bonuses, you're gonna get affirmations, journaling prompts, real life challenges, tips, and then you're also gonna get like a very specific astrological guide for the things that we're gonna go over for your sign and your chart, and human design guide tips as well. So very excited about that. There's a quick start guide of like how to find your chart if you are not familiar with it and you've never looked it up before. And it's just another tool, just another idea, inspiration. So you're already wired for connection, for safety, and for a lot of us, that wiring has just gotten like messed up and tangled over time. So instead of trusting that good things can show up, or when good things show up, we're like waiting for the other shoe to drop. We brace, we wait for the catch, we wait for the con, and we turn ease into suspicion. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna untangle it a little bit together. And if you're watching on the replay, you can follow along with all of the bonuses as well. It's like a receiving toolkit. And we're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, so you can always pop over to whatever works for you best. And feel free to pop in into the chat, tell us how you're doing, where you're from, where you're tuning in from, what your relationship is to receiving, and what you think it is, what you want it to be, where you're struggling with it, anything at all. Feel free to pop in as often as you like. So, receiving. Most of us weren't taught to receive, we were taught to earn. And we live in our heads most of the time. We're constantly analyzing and planning and performing, and our culture praises productivity. So even when we finish something, it's just on to the next thing, right? What's next? You did that. That's so great. What's next for you? I always think about like in America, like when you win the Super Bowl, there's always a question, and it's in marketing thing where they want you to say Disney World. They're being paid to do that, but it's like you just won the Super Bowl. What's next? And it's like to take a nap, to enjoy this actually is what's next. Like why is there needing to be a what's next? So we rarely pause to rest or celebrate or just be with what's happening, right? How often are you working on your relationship instead of being in one? How often are you working on being a human instead of experiencing being a human? And when we do rest and celebrate, we have this guilt that creeps in and we have this pressure that builds. And I want to I want you to kind of ask yourself, where is that voice coming from and what is it saying? And where have you heard it before? Right? Who told you that you can't stop, that you can't slow down, that it's not good enough, that you got to keep going, right? Where is this justification and obligation and guilt coming from? We're told that we have to earn love and rest and joy. We have to definitely earn joy. But healing doesn't really work that way, and neither does happiness. So you can't force anything to bloom. You can't force a flower to bloom. The conditions have to be right for it to open. And that's kind of what receiving is. It's like creating the conditions for happiness to exist. So when we're talking about receiving, you can look at it in a lot of different ways. So I think mostly what it is an openness and a willingness to allow things to happen. So we can look at a really tangible example of like a gift, and maybe someone gives you something and you can say, thank you. This is incredible. Wow, I'm very grateful for it, right? Or you can say, why? Why did you do that? Why would you give me that? Or now I gotta write a thank you note. Now I have to do this. Or they gave me this. What is it really trying to say? What is the mixed meaning behind it, right? Or I don't really believe that I'm worthy of this thing. This is too much. I can't reciprocate this. There's so many different ways that comes up, right? Or you can do it with compliments too. Deflect it, not accept it, not believe it. And in life, that's kind of the parallel that you want to make with receiving. It's like, how are you not being open to potential, to experiences, to opportunities, to gifts? And sometimes that gift is actually just being here in the moment and looking around and noticing what is around you, what is available, what can you experience, what can you feel, what can you sense, what can you taste, what can you see, what can you be, what can you feel. And sometimes it feels like luck, sometimes it feels like expansion, sometimes it feels like gratitude, sometimes it feels like permission. And I think receiving is like, I don't know, we have a negativity bias in our brain, psychologically, physiologically. So we know that when someone says something negative, it's easier for us to remember that thing than it is for us to remember the positive, no matter how much positive stuff is happening. But I think it happens with experiences in life as well. you have definitely experienced something where something just worked out for you, right? Something just fell into place. You can't believe it. It was too good to be true. Something happened, and you were like, oh, wow, that was crazy. Can you believe that? That was amazing. I loved that. But that gets overshadowed by how many things seem to go wrong, also. And it's not that things aren't going wrong either. It's just that we place those with a higher priority because the hurt seems to matter more than the way we're allowing ourselves to experience the joy. And that's kind of really at the end of it, it's not just noticing that these things are happening, that there is good in the world, that there is good in your life, but it's savoring it. It's going through it, it's experiencing it. That's really what receiving is. So, if we want to look at a little bit back of science, the absence of danger isn't the same as safety, right? So your nervous system needs cues to feel safe enough to experience joy and to receive. So if you, and this is especially true if you've experienced trauma or chronic stress, which is for a lot of you, your vagus nerve is constantly scanning your environment and the background to be like, am I safe? Is this okay? What is that? Put that down. And if the answer isn't clear, your body assumes the worst. And it triggers cortisol, which is your stress hormone. It also triggers adrenaline and it creates a state of hypervigilance. But the good news is that you can intentionally send safety cues to your nervous system so that your body feels safe and then you become more capable and practice. You build the skill of being able to receive things like comfort and softness and happiness and excitement. And you can do things like cognitive behavioral training, where you think about something positive and so like usually I would do this with somebody that's kind of like maybe anxious about something, right? Maybe it's social anxiety, maybe it's rejection, whatever. And you would kind of do a pairing practice of doing something soothing while thinking about that worst case scenario of the thing that you're anxious about. And that's something that works because you're basically wiring your body to understand that it's okay and that it's safe and that there is something positive about this potential worst case scenario so that if it does happen, your body will kind of like revert back to that state. But we can do this with positive stuff too, because really what we're worried about is that we can't get something happy. We can't get something fun. We can't experience joy. We're afraid not just of success, but that our life isn't going to be fun, that this entire thing is going to be a drag. We're terrified that this is all there is. We're terrified that like, oh my God, is it just going to keep getting worse? Am I just going to have to experience more pain, more suffering, more drama, more nonsense for the rest of my life? So really, we're actually scared that the positive stuff isn't going to come. So you can do that like soothing ritual while imagining positive things, and then you combine this cognitive behavioral space and pairing of the capacity to potentially receive positive stuff in the future. So you can also do this. I mean, maybe it's like a stuffed animal and you're rubbing it or a soft texture. Or it can also be talking to yourself in a soothing tone and or listening to a guided meditation or something like that that's kind of like a lullaby energy of the way they're speaking that can really help. And you can talk about the things that you want, what it's like to you kind of like a visualization almost. You think about what is it that you want and then talk about it in the present tense. So if you are thinking like I want a relationship that feels really safe, then you would say I am in a relationship that feels so safe and I love it and it feels like da 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 da. And then do that and don't just do that, but do it in a soothing tone. So it's like rewiring your brain and it's giving you these like pairings of capacity for the future. You can also just think about it and listen to calming music or soft like soundscape kind of things. You can kind of pair these thoughts with being in a familiar environment, something, or even just a visual of it. You can just imagine being in a safe place and do that in really big detail with temperature and scent and textures and sounds. You can incorporate some sort of like breathing or gentle movement and whatever, like really whatever lets your body feel more comfortable and safe and say yes. And then, yeah, I mean, so receiving feels like I think that we're wired to think that receiving is 100% passive. And it's not. It's being present without bracing and waiting for the other shoe to drop because you can be present and still be worried, right? So receiving is having fun, feeling good, being in a flow, having gratitude even, but also not having this high level fear that something bad is going to happen next. It's like faith, really. It's like faith that something good could still happen, that there's good in humanity, that there's good in your life, that there's good around the next corner instead of danger. That's really what we're looking at here. And this feeling of receiving might feel or look like exhaling fully for the first time in the day or a week, or letting your shoulders drop without realizing that they were tense before, or saying yes to help and meaning it, and maybe feeling touched by beauty instead of wanting to pick it apart or analyze it or think about how you could recreate it, just immersing yourself in the thing. Or not trying to prove something and just doing it, or crying because someone said something kind to you and you believed it, or not needing to make a moment the most productive or optimized, or being able to say, this is good, this is enough. So you can start practicing this and integrating it with compliments. You can practice the art of it's a skill. When someone gives you a compliment, you say thank you instead of deflecting. Next level bonus is to say thank you, it's true. And then also respond back to them with something nice about them. You can also do a savoring ritual. So this looks like picking something maybe once a day to zoom in on and actually pause, imagining that you're pausing the day and focusing on this and letting yourself enjoy it. So you might already do this with like the first sip of a drink. And the way that I explain savoring and mindfulness really is to do it like it's the last time that you get to do it. To really just, you can do it either way, actually. You can do it the like you're on death row and it's the last time that you'll ever get to do it, or you can do it as if you're a child experiencing it for the first time. You can ask for something easy. So you can, let's see, like if you are asking for a glass of water at a restaurant, you can maybe alter the order a little bit and say like light ice with a straw, right? So by doing that, you're kind of demonstrating that you can ask for things and receive them. So it's kind of like being willing to being willing to receive, but also part of receiving is knowing what you want too, right? Because somebody can give you a gift and you can receive it, but you can also know that you dislike it, that you don't want it, that it's not for you. So part of receiving is really being clear about what it is that you want. So how can you ask for things that you want and then trust that it's going to happen? I've heard manifesting described as placing an order at a restaurant and then trusting that it's coming. And I don't think that that's a full explanation because you have to actually like do work. You kind of need to be in the kitchen a little bit as well in that analogy, but really a lot of receiving is just is being clear about what is for you. You can also build in pauses to your day on purpose. You can set an alarm. You can make sure that when you complete a task, a project, even a conversation, that you kind of like check in with yourself and resist asking what's next. And instead, you could ask yourself something like, how can I mark this moment? How can I celebrate this moment? And maybe that's just sitting in silence or breathing or stretching or saying, like, I did it, you know? Even just saying, like, good job to yourself after you do something is really helpful. And it's just instead of moving on to the next thing immediately without acknowledgement, notice things without needing to fix them. That's a good one. Can you observe yourself, your surroundings, your feelings without not just judging them, but wanting to change them? What does it look like to just let it be? I try to do this. This is another, it's kind of like a cognitive behavioral thing. You know, I first went to CBT for OCD, and I have a lot of things where the control aspect of my brain wants to like make sure that that's exactly like this and just like that. And uh sometimes it makes sense to other people's brains, like, well, that's a stack of paper. It should be, in order, right? Um, and sometimes I can't even explain why I want it to be the way that it is. But that's kind of how life is with our feelings, with our environment. And we do have a certain amount of control, but I don't know, like I was thinking about this when I was like moving and when I was preparing for a festival recently, and my brain does calm down a lot. My body calms down when there is physical order in my environment. I prefer that by a long shot. And I think that's true for a lot of people. A cluttered desk is a cluttered mind. It's very true. However, the idea that I couldn't keep making art or keep unpacking or keep moving forward because this pile of paper was out of order is just not true. It's a preference. And how can I kind of notice the fact that I prefer that without being like, well, I got to go do it. I got to give into it. But also, I'm crazy for even thinking that, right? So that's kind of what it means to like notice something without needing to fix it and kind of practicing that. And then another thing that you can do to practice receiving is, I guess you can call it guided listening. So this means playing something that's maybe just audio content and letting it wash over you without multitasking. So most of the time when we're listening to something like this, like me right now, or a podcast or an audiobook or music even, we are simultaneously driving and doing chores and working out and whatever. And we're also maybe even trying to learn too. We're trying to take notes and all of these things. And what would it look like to only do that thing, to only experience that? I think a lot of receiving is just this ability to be in the moment and present, experience what's happening, savor it like it's the first or last time, and then know exactly if this is for you or not. To be clear, is this for you? Is this what I want? And how to ask for it and tweak it if need be. So these are 6 ways to kind of practice daily: the complimenting, the savoring, the asking for something easy, building in pauses, noticing without needing to fix, and then the guided listening. And those aren't really tasks. I mean, you can think about them, but they're more like reminders that your body does know how to do this. Your body does know how to receive. You're just kind of remembering how to do it. And that's really talking about 111 FM. That's my whole ethos right now, is that we already know, we're just remembering. We've just kind of forgotten who we are. We've forgotten what makes us happy. We have the capacity to do it. We've just let other things kind of pile up on top. So I want to invite you to do a little bit of like self-discovery today with me. And because the way that we receive is not a one size fits all thing. There's support and rest and joy and magic. And maybe you might find some specific guidance or inspiration in a blueprint that is kind of written out for you as a tool from something like your birth chart and astrology and human design. Because even though I don't think these things are in any way definitive and we don't know anything to be sure, I do think they're interesting and I think they're weirdly right a lot of the time. And they can offer clues for you about what kind of receiving actually feels safe and natural for you. So if you're new to human design or astrology, there's no worries or stress. You don't have to be an expert to get something out of this. I'm just going to walk you through what to look for and how to interpret it. So what we're going to explore is your human design type. There's 5 different kinds. You might be a generator, you might be a projector, and that's going to show you how you interact with energy. And then we're going to talk about, well, actually, this is just going to be in the bonuses in the positive pulse that I mentioned earlier, your design profile. So you are going to have like a fraction. So I'm a 3-5, 3 line 5, like a fraction, and it gives you insight into learning more about your receiving style. It gets more specific. And then in astrology, we're going to look at your 12th house. And that's going to talk to you about how you allow surrender and magic and timing in your life. And then we're also going to look at Jupiter because this is about expansion and luck and abundance. So if you've never pulled your birth chart before, you'll need your birth date, time, and location that you were born, or as close as you can get to it. And you can try astro-charts.com, astro.com, cafeastrology.com, and you just want to generate your chart. Now, if you don't have a birth time, it's okay, or a birthplace, just do your best. Most of the time, because we're looking at the 12th house, because we're looking at Jupiter, a lot of these things aren't going to change that much with the time as it would with like your rising sign because it's really far, Jupiter's really far away from us. But it's okay if this is something that you want to skip or you're not interested in or you don't believe in. This is just another tool that I want to share. So I'm actually going to share my screen and show you just what we're looking at first. And if you're on Instagram, I'm sorry. You will just have to look at it yourself. So, or watch the replay. Okay, so this is my chart. And what we're looking for is your 12th house. So you can see the numbers are right here. And here's 12. And you see how this dash goes all the way out and this dash goes all the way out. So you kind of want to see what is ruling this house. So technically, you can see that there's actually Aries and Gemini in this 12th house, but it's mostly ruled by Taurus. And then you want to find, and you can also scroll down and you can see, like, here, I'll scroll down all the way. And when you find, you can just control F for houses, and then you say 12th house, and then it'll tell you where it starts. Okay. And then you also want to, so that's one thing you need to know, okay, is the how to find the 12th house and what is ruled by it. There also might be planets in there, and that's another thing that you can look at. So my Jupiter is actually in my 12th house. So that's one thing to know. And then you also want to know what your Jupiter is ruled by. So you want to find this little symbol and then just look for Jupiter and then see what sign it's in. So mine's in Taurus. Okay. And then it's also in the 12th house. So you can also find where it is by going back down to the houses and then looking for, see how it says contains, contains, contains. You're just going to look for Jupiter and then you'll figure out where it is. And that's what we're doing in astrology. Now, for human design, there's many sites that you can go to. I'm on myhumandesign.com. There are so many different sites that you can do this with. And they all, sometimes they offer something a little bit different. But this, all you really need for us, for our purposes, are the basics. So You don't have to worry about any of this stuff. That's okay. And you're just gonna, for our purposes, look at the type that you are. So you can see I'm a projector. And then you're gonna look at your profile. So um, this is the fraction number that we're talking about. Okay. So now we're going to figure out how to stop sharing, and we're gonna talk about what this means. Okay. So once you've got your placements, I'm going to give you some specific tips based on your chart. And okay, let's go. So we're going to do human design first. This is the way that you receive energy and how you process and respond. And it's deeply influenced by your human design is very interesting. It kind of takes into account a lot of different theologies like astrology and like at least four other different ones, chakras and all these other different things like meridians. Very interesting. But it is still like mystical because it's all based on your birth time. So it's whether you want to believe it or not, but you still might find tips for it. So in human design, there are 5 main types, and each of them have a different rhythm. And if you know your type, this is kind of a permission and a blueprint of how to receive in a way that honors your system. So if you're a manifester, you are here to initiate and also take rest. So receiving for you means these like quiet, interrupted spaces to hear your own inner authority and then to let your input come to you only when you have asked for it. And then generators, this is a lot of people. Generators are like the biggest chunk, the highest percentage of most common type. Your sacral, like gut hum is your guide. You are built to respond and not chase. So practice waiting for life to kind of offer you signs, and your yes will feel more full-bodied to receive. Don't force a no. Manifesting generators, you move really fast. You have a lot of like, this is like the ADHD sign. um, but you still have to kind of wait for a response. And receiving looks for you like a very non-linear path. And you got to release guilt when you feel the need to shift directions midstream. If you're a projector like me, you're here to see things very deeply, but not to hustle. And receiving happens best when you are in a mode of rest and observation and feeling recognized. So giving yourself permission to pull back and let the world find you. So it's kind of just about being visible, really. Reflectors, very rare, like less than 1% of the population, but your whole design is about sampling and reflecting your physical environment. So receiving is actually your superpower if you're a reflector, but only if you're in the right place. And you got to notice how your energy shifts based on your setting and how you're absorbing things. And then I mentioned that there's the types of the personalities, so that the fraction, that is in your tips for that are going to be in the replay with the bonuses inside of Positive Pulse, which you can get for free at uncustomary.org/positive-pulse. Now let's take a look at astrology. How is this still doing that? No, I think it's just not caught up. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at astrology. And you can look to your astrology for cues about how you naturally receive and where your soul is kind of being asked to soften. So the 12th house is where we're going to look at, and this is showing you where you are invited as a human to surrender. This is the part of your chart where magic and fate and dreams and divine timing come up. So look at the sign that rules your 12th house and any planets there, and it will give you insight into how you receive spiritual support, what energies help you to feel safe to let go, and what kind of trust you are here to develop. And then there's Jupiter, which is the planet of luck abundance, and expansion. And whenever your Jupiter, like wherever your Jupiter is placed, will tell you where you naturally attract blessings when you allow them. So let's take a look at the 12th house by element. Now, again, all of this is going to be broken down much more expansively and specifically in the positive pulse with your bonuses. And you can look up your specific sign and the 12th house in Jupiter. But we're going to just take a look at the general signs through element. So for fire, if your 12th house is ruled by Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, your intuition arrives through inspiration. You receive when you are moving, when you are playing, and when you are expressing. If your 12th house is ruled by an earth sign like mine, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, you receive through grounding and rituals and embodiment. Anything with sensory stuff, sensory experiences are really good anchors for you. If your 12th house is ruled by air, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, you receive through ideas and signs and synchronicities and conversations. So you want to stay curious. And if your 12th house is ruled by water, which is Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, you receive through stillness, dreams, emotions, and memory. So trust all of the tides, so to speak, of things that are constantly in flux. Okay, now let's take a look at Jupiter by sign. So if your Jupiter is ruled by a fire sign, luck comes when you take bold action or lead other people. If your Jupiter is ruled by an earth sign like mine, expansion happens when you are consistent and make practical application. If your Jupiter is ruled by an air sign, your growth comes from ideas and communication and social connection. And if your Jupiter is ruled by water, you grow by trusting your emotions, your imagination, and your inner world. And if you want more on this, there's a full breakdown of each sign, not just through the elements, for Jupiter, the 12th house, human design, and the types and the personalities as it relates to receiving an expansion inside of the positive pulse. Now I want to take a little segue into the benefits of audio. So I mentioned earlier guided listening as a way to receive. So audio content is a really uniquely designed way to receive. It enters through your ears and it doesn't require any eye contact, note taking, or to-do lists. And psychologically and physically, audio can help you to regulate your mood through a rhythmic tone. It can improve your memory through gentle repetition. It can rewire your brain through neuroplasticity, especially with positive input. It can calm your nervous system through cadence and frequency. It can make you feel less alone because it feels like someone's in the room with you. And you can also absorb wisdom and inspiration while you're moving, resting, or just living your life. And logistically, you can do this while you're driving, walking, doing the dishes, taking your dog out. And it's just not another thing that you have to do on your schedule. It kind of just like is something that you get to absorb as you go through your life. And that is something that 111 FM really offers. I think it's a really beautiful way to allow yourself to receive. And you can check that out at uncustomary.org/111. Okay, I want to do a live frequency calibration here with you today. So let's tune in together. And if it's safe, close your eyes down, take a deep breath, and visualize a glowing dial inside your chest, like a radio dial. And then it starts flickering. It's unsteady, but you place your hand on it and it's warm. And imagine yourself turning that dial slowly. You might hear static at first, and then little flickers of fun and laughter and joy, like a memory of you dancing, or kids laughing, or feeling sunlight on your face. And you keep tuning the dial until you land on a station. And this is a frequency. And the name of that frequency is enough. Notice what happens in your body when you say that. This is enough. I am enough. This moment is enough. And that's the frequency we build from. Not lack, not striving, but enoughness. Let's try one more setting. Let's turn that dial, and we're going to try to find the station that lands on fun. Moving from enough to fun. And feel it as you tune in. The static ends and you hear fun coming in. Feel what that does to your face, your posture, your breath, and let it in. What does your fun frequency feel like? You just tuned your whole system without pushing. That's the power of attunement. And we just wanted to do a minute of that. Take another breath. And remember that you have enough, you have fun, you have love, you have happiness, you have aliveness inside of you. And remember also that there have been times when things have worked out for you in wild, beautiful, almost inexplicable ways. And we don't often catalog those the same way that we do with our pain, because, like I mentioned, we have a negativity bias. So we assume that those wins and those fun times were flukes or exceptions to the rule, but they were not. If you believe that you are cursed or unlucky, then the opposite must also be true, right? Because if luck exists, then unlucky exists. If we can blame our parents for one thing, we have to accept the good things about us too, right? You know what I mean? It's both sides. It can't just be one. So if you've been chosen before, you have received before. If something good has happened to you, you have received before. So let's remember that. Let's name it. And let's remember what has come through and use that as proof one more time that more good can come and more good is on the way. Let's do a little bit more. We talk about receiving like it's just about saying yes. But the truth is, you can't receive if your hands are full, right? You can't let in new light if every window is covered and what's covering it is the past. So before we go forward, I want to ask you something, which is what are you ready to put down so that more can come in? You get a new dress, you can't put it in the closet because it's already full. What are you ready to get rid of? What are you ready to put down? What habit, what belief, what story is still like hitching a ride to you and your nervous system, even though it doesn't make sense for you anymore? It's not helping you. It's not supporting you. Maybe it's something you've outgrown. Maybe it's something you're still clinging to because it protected you and made you safe at one point. Maybe it's pressure to keep proving and performing and pretending that you're okay when you're not. But take a moment, and if you feel called, you can share it with us or write it down. What's the thing that you're ready to release before you step into your frequency, your new frequency? Maybe it's the enough frequency, maybe it's the fun frequency, maybe it's your name frequency, right? The Mary frequency. Maybe you want to put down and release people pleasing or hustling for worth or getting external validation or perfectionism or hyper independence or vigilance or the belief that you're too old or that it's too late or the need to have it all figured out. All of these things are so human. None of us are alone in these feelings and these stories. And that means that we don't have to carry them alone either. So if you want to close your eyes and let your body soften just like 1 or 5% more than it was. And breathe and drop your shoulders and unclench your jaw. Let your breath arrive without force. Just let it happen. And picture the thing that you want to release. Give it a color, give it a shape, give it a weight. Maybe you can feel it sitting on your chest or wrapped around your back like a backpack, or it's buzzing like a fly in your head. And now I want you to imagine extracting it and handing it off to the wind. Or maybe you place it gently into a stream, or you just set it down at the base of a door. And that door is glowing and you know it's going to take care of it for you. But you don't have to burn it. You don't have to blow it up. You don't have to fix it. You just have to let it leave your hands. Take another breath. A breath that's saying, I am done carrying this, and I'm done carrying this alone. And as you exhale, feel your hands open and more space returning to your brain, to your body, to your life, to your future. This is what creates capacity. This is what makes room for joy and softness and ease and pleasure. And now, with your hands open and your shoulders lighter and your system a little bit more calibrated, let's walk forward together without the thing that you just set down. I'm so excited for you to feel a little bit lighter, and I hope that that helped a little bit. The full experience of 111 FM with this audio guidance, hype, no homework, love is already live. And the audio, the zines, the printables, the tips, they're waiting for you. And we're still in this special access window until June 24th at midnight. And you can get $76 off. And you can also join for a monthly fee. It's only $37 because I just turned 37 on Saturday. And you can also do a quarterly payment. There's different payment options available. And yeah, you'll still get the bonus postcard mailed to you if you join now. You also get good news texts and merriment mail. But the real invite is that this is just a place where you don't have to do anything to be welcomed. And you're not needing to be productive to belong. You just press play and you get to remember who you are. I'm excited to feel into that in my next year of living. And if you are too, check out uncustomary.org/111. You don't have to go out and do something with this right now. This feeling that you have, there's nothing you need to earn before you breathe out or breathe in again. You don't have to be halfway up a mountain to look up at the stars, you know? You just get to let this be enough. Let now be enough. Let yourself be enough. You don't need a plan. What if your only job today is to just let it in? Your life isn't a task, it's a transmission, and you get to tune in. And remember, if you want to take this work even deeper, everything we talked about today has also been expanded into that full bonus receiving library toolkit inside of the Positive Pulse. So that'll be up today. And there's affirmations, prompts, rituals, journaling questions, and ways to understand how you are specifically built to receive through human design, astrology, and real world nervous system support. It's free to join and full of over 100 additional classes and resources. And they're just waiting for you as soon as you log in. uncustomary.org/positive-pulse. And you can click on the episode replay and get access to all the bonuses. Receiving is a skill to build, but it's also your nature. So remember that you're not here to earn anything, even this moment or peace. You're just here to remember that peace is available and belongs to you already. So I'll see you inside the Positive Pulse. I'll see you inside 111 FM. Remember that you have to feel good to do good, but let's start with the first part. Okay. Bye, loves.